Hey everyone, it's John on my news trading desk here this morning, just waking up, having a cup of coffee. Ooh, margin calls, a lot to go over today. The stock market futures are rolling over, Bitcoin's tanking, huge margin calls, but what a day, my goodness. So history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. So here we go again. So let's look at the today, my goodness, November 14th, 2025. My goodness, let's look at this. This in a lot of the news that's transpiring today, on the economic calendar is extraordinary. So let's look at what's being reported. It says here data fog engulfing October due to government shutdown may never be fully lifted. So this government shutdown, the entire country, the good old US of A is broke. I mean, country, today on the 14th, we have a lot of data. US retail sales are out, retail sales minus autos, PPI numbers, the producer price index, core PPI, PPI year over year, core PPI year over year, business inventories at 10 o'clock. And then, so we got Fed speak also today. So inflation nation, hyperinflation. So let's look first, Bitcoin has plunged, sure, forced margin calls and liquidations at all of the leveraged points here. Bitcoin's trading at, trading wallets at about 95,500. And so my last DCA purchase of Bitcoin was at 111,460. So that shows you, I'm still profitable in my Bitcoin position. It's like, here we go again with these forced liquidations and margin. It's tough though, as a trader and speculator, to be able to sit tight. And that's the reason that, I don't give financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I don't trade on the margin. I own what I own. And I have, lots of precious metals too that I own too as a hedge against the hyperinflation, and also margin. I don't use the margin ever. So, my hat goes off to those, margin players out there. Like my Bitcoin position alone, I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. I'll go over it first. But my average cost basis on Bitcoin is 93,707. So I'm still profitable. There's nothing like it was when it was at 124,000. So we'll see. I use asymmetric risk. It can only go to zero. And again, no margin. But let's just look first at the news. Let's see here on bar chart. All right. And we'll look at it and go over the news. All right. Stock index futures plunge. Stock market's going to open up here in about 4 minutes. People are concerned about Fed rate cut doubts and valuation concerns. The AI bubble, robotics, artificial intelligence. Walmart CEO Doug McMillon to retire in January. Jordan King and Indonesian leader hold talks and economic ties to Gaza. London judge finds global mining company BHP Group with liable in Brazil's worst environmental disaster. A lot of, should you buy the post dip in Monday.com stock? ARK investment is leaking, and the tech stock flood could reach biblical proportions. So a lot of the, has the bubble burst? Was it SoftBank? I think they sold their position in Nvidia. And that Ray Dalio warns the next big debt crisis won't come from banks, it'll come from governments, which we're seeing the Stablecoin Act and the big beautiful bill and the stimmy checks. They said they're $2,000 stimmy checks, and then everyone goes out soon enough will exist on UBI, Universal Basic Income, and the free handouts. So S&P futures off. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, and read my risk disclosures below. But the Nasdaq E-minis are off 350 points, Dow futures off 300 points or so, S&P minis off 64 points. The VIX is up at about 21 for the VIX. The Dixie at 99 US dollar, The 10-year at 112-310. Crude oil, bearish type conditions at about $60 for crude. Nat gas at $4.47. Gold is off $142 at about 4,500. Silver's hanging in there, man, at $50 an ounce. I've been a seller recently of some silver, and I've discussed that in my previous video on the weighted alpha. Like orange juice is the worst performing commodity right now, and then on its weighted alpha, but silver bullion is the strongest. So I'm a seller of some silver, and I'm going to look to then take it and then perhaps use it to purchase some Bitcoin or Ethereum or XRP Ripple. So coffee market is off. So these are, look at this, the stocks. Let's look at the stock market leaders. Tesla pre-market off 7%. Nvidia tanking off 4%. Sedera off 1%. Palantir off nearly 7%. Advanced Micro Devices off 4%. Google doing great. Micron Technologies off about 3%. And Iron Limited, which is one of my stock positions, is off about 13%. Oh my goodness. So, popular ETFs, the triple Qs, a lot of news going on here. Trying to speak up a little louder. So here, stock set for another bruising day on Wall Street. Tech is leading losses again as the slide in the Dow, Nasdaq, and S&P futures pick up. Trump is readying big tariff cuts to ease grocery prices. Hyperinflation is still here. Big Short, Burry asked, what if big tech profits are overstated? Meta's off, Facebook. Walmart CEO is going to retire. Recession is brewing at bottom of the K-shaped economy. Intel is at risk of losing its long-standing chip lead to advanced micro devices. So there's a battle going on here in the U.S., Intel versus advanced micro devices. Bitcoin's bear market deepens as ETF investors yank $870 million from ETFs. New tariff trades show Wall Street doubt on refund payouts. Trump linked America Bitcoin's Q3 revenue doubles. Man, HUD 8, Tesla stock falls as post-Musk paid package sells off continues. So I guess the street doesn't like a $1 trillion package for compensation. Enjoy some coffee. U.S. investment firm Redbird pulls out of buying Britain's Telegraph newspaper. Gold falls, precious metals, Fed cut waiver. Man, why stocks are suddenly on the edge. Things to know. Here's the 5 things to know about the stock market before the open. So we've just opened up here. So these news stories, every bull market has a great bear market followed by another great bull market. So the things they're talking about today, stock futures are sharply lower this morning as technology sector remains under pressure. The Trump administration is looking to reduce tariffs on food, such as coffee and bananas. Microsoft, Mr. Softy, Amazon are reportedly backing efforts to restrict the ability of chip makers such as Nvidia to sell to China. Paramount and Comcast and Netflix are reportedly preparing bids to purchase Warner Brothers. The shares of StubHub are tumbling after the ticket seller declined to provide current quarter guidance to investors. So no cooking the books there at StubHub. Stock futures plunge. Here's the number one story. Tech sector sell-off. Bitcoin hits a 6-month low. Trump eyes tariff reduction, again, for food import prices. Microsoft, Amazon reportedly back bill to restrict Nvidia sales to China. So Nvidia and Amazon and Microsoft, a lot of traction going on there. SoftBank sale of Nvidia stake weighs on tech sector. So SoftBank sold at the top of the market. I mean, Nvidia shares position, I think I'd seen it was up like 25,000%. something outrageous. So they're taking, has the bubble burst in artificial intelligence and LLM. So inflation woes and streaming services. Consumer, despite their ultra foul mood, are not pushing back with waves of cancellations that would keep the lid on streamflation. Got the 50-year mortgage. My goodness. The only thing the 50-year mortgage is good for are banks, and the banks are all in trouble. I'm concerned about the de-dollarization event and bank runs. I think the economy, it feels like it's preparing for like a 1929 style economic depression. And of course, look at the different news stories that kind of confirm such. So got a lot of news here, all the banks, a lot of the bank stocks, I don't know, guys, looking at all of the different news stories and everything, you got to be cautious out there. That's the reason, like I have these here. This is all silver bullion coins that I own. I'll be starting to sell these now on my eBay account and doing well with it. And then, my ebooks are doing great too. So I'll put a link down below. You can see one of my ebooks that I've penned here recently that you can check out on the artificial intelligence and mastering agentic AI, the AI graphic artist course, event planning, these different things, different stories for AI virtual reality development and AI social media. So check it out, tell me what you think. A lot of news today. Let's see what the stock market's doing. It just opened up here about 5 minutes. Let's see what I have. Bitcoin tanking. The Bitcoin dips, and then it causes the Ethereum to dip, and then XRP dips, and then it brings down all the altcoins. But I think it's setting up for another great altcoin season. That'll be in Q1 of 2026, January, February, and March. So you always have the big dip and liquidation first. Every October, November, stocks typically will roll over into a bear market. So with that, S&P 500 ETF is off about 1%. Is it oversold, or is the stock market going to pull a 1929? That's the reason, again, owning tangible assets, the physical bullion, doesn't look like much, but I have thousands of these small coins and silver bullion. Let's see, here's another thing here. This is a coin here, silver bullion, entire rolls. Here she is, roll after roll of dimes, mercury dimes. These things are tangible assets. So when the stock market rolls over and the bubble burst in AI and Bitcoin dips, it's off, 35,000 points. I guess it's entered into a bear market. It's a reason that no margin, then I also own tangible assets. So I'll put a link down below. Make sure you read my risk disclosures. I'm on my news trading desk, and I got my Bentley hat on. So got a nice market that we're going to be trading and speculating with. And all you guys, I'll tell you folks that are on the margin with the Bitcoin, with those forced liquidations at 94,600, that's something else. I can imagine. I've traded and speculated professionally since 1987 for myself and for others. I just managed for myself. And I've not ever used the margin, and I've gone through all types of market corrections and dips and not ever received a margin call. Now, I don't make as much as the next individual, but I don't lose as much as the next individual either, and I've been able to stay in the game, as they say. So, no margin. Careful out there, guys. They're going to keep lowering interest rates, with the stimmy checks and the bailouts and rolling the national debt into the stable coins. Well, I'll tell you, 40 trillion plus all the government shutdown, and then it's just really something else. So with that, Thanks for, make sure you like my video, give it a thumbs up and share the video. Let's get the word out. My channel's getting a lot of traction. Again, it's John. I'm on my news and trading desk. Have a great day here, and tighten up those stop orders if you have them, but margin calls, guys, man.